Hey there, welcome back to another video. This time, a review of the 2011 horror comedy, Deadheads. This is a film that was sent to me by Adam Watson, who's a good friend of mine and a longtime subscriber. And this is a movie I had absolutely no expectations for it going in. And I was really surprised by this film. I really enjoyed this. I agree with pretty much everything that Screen Jabber said here. Very, very funny, sure to find itself becoming a cult classic, except for maybe the very, very funny thing. That's what I said, pretty much agree with everything, not 100% agree, because it could be a little bit funnier for me. But for the most part, though, I really enjoy this film because it has a lot of heart, it's a lot of fun, and it's a nice little sort of throwback film. It has this sort of 80s charm to it that I really appreciated. This film is pretty much a road trip movie mixed in with a zombie film, mixed in with some 80s sort of coming of age, Goonies-ish type of hijinks, as well as a little bit of romance. Uh, this is, I thought, was a fairly impressive film in terms of its production values and its effects and how it looked for such a low budget. And apparently this movie was made in 2008, but it was held back for like 3 years. I don't know why. I don't think it's that bad. And I do feel it's a little bit underrated. And I can totally see this becoming a cult classic in the years to come. This is definitely a film that I do recommend. This is the type of diamond in the rough type movie. I think it's worth a one watch at least. And yeah, it's directed by Brett Pierce and Drew T. Pierce, the Pierce brothers. Their father worked on the first film in the Evil Dead franchise, so their father worked on Evil Dead. And so they were very inspired by Evil Dead and some of the other, type of films that their father worked on for this movie. And there's even a fun scene where the main characters, they go in and they go to a drive-in movie and Evil Dead is playing, which is actually really cool, I thought. So there's a lot of nice nods to previous horror films, of the past. Not only just horror films, but other stuff as well, like nice little nods to Back to the Future, The Goonies, and so on. It's also written by the Pierce brothers, and it has a cast that consists of Michael McKiddy as Mike Kellerman, who is the lead. His name is Mike. He's kind of a nerdy looking guy. He kind of reminds me of me, when I have my beard shaved. But really what he reminds me of the most, he almost looks exactly like James Rolfe, the angry video game nerd. And but he has a personality that I definitely I relate to. His personality, sense of humor is similar to my own. There's a fun scene where the other friend that he meets in the film, Brent, played by Ross Kidder, Brent is talking about, oh man, it's 2009. Oh man, I missed the Transformers movie. And then I love Mike's reaction. It's definitely something. It's along the lines of how I would react to this. It's like, it probably sucked. He was like, it sucked. It's like, which I thought was great. It was a nice little bit of dialogue. I thought the film was fast-paced for the most part. It's 100 minutes. That's at the end credits, and wasn't really ever bored by this movie. It was a pretty fun, rollicking, good time. It also features Marcus Taylor as Cheese, who's this big, tall lunk of a zombie who wears a trench coat, kind of like this film's Sloth. Thomas Galasso as Thomas Jeremiah, who I believe is this, yeah, he's this really badass uh, guy. It's like kind of like the opposite of the black guy from Night of the Living Dead. He's just like he can totally hold his own. He's a wife beater. He kicks a lot of zombie ass. Um, you have Natalie Victoria plays Ellie Masterson, who is Mike's girlfriend, who he's trying. Though she's the whole reason why he's willing to risk his newly found undead life. So he's trying to get back to her so he can give her his engagement ring and kind of tell her how he's always felt about her and so on. That's the heart that this film has that I'm talking about that I really liked. And I know this is something that could easily be considered by people to be cheesy or whatever, but I thought it was charming. I don't call it cheesy, I call it charm. And I think this film has a lot of that. It's a lot of that 80s charm. And that went a long way for me, especially its heart. It doesn't have a lot of character development. There's enough there with the character of Mike, though, that you feel for him and you sympathize with him and his plight. Um, they also meet up with this other guy. Um, they meet up with this. Sorry, I'm just trying to remember what this actor's name is, because I thought he was a really good performance by this actor that they met up with and gave them a ride and things like that. He was this older actor, older guy. He reminded me a lot of Michael McKean in terms of his performance. Yeah, I believe it's yeah, I believe it's Harry Burkey plays Cliff. I believe that's the actor. Um, so yeah, I enjoyed his performance. He was this older guy who they befriend along the way on the trip. Uh, you also have Benjamin Webster who plays McDinkle. I didn't really compare for his performance. I think he was funnier in the blooper reel during the end credits than he was in the film. He was just an obnoxious asshole, wannabe tough guy who I thought he was really mugging for the camera a little bit too much for my tastes. And so that's the basic cast there. There's a villain played by Leonard Kelly Young. His performance could have been a little bit better as well. But I mean, for a low budget film, for an independent production, I thought the performances for the most part were pretty good, especially by the two leads. Definitely by Michael McKiddy, who I thought did a great job as the lead, as Mike. Very sympathetic character. You definitely rooted for him. You wanted him to make it. You wanted him to find his girlfriend, and you also wanted him to make it out alive, or whatever he has left in terms of life. That is, because he's technically a zombie. This also reminded me a lot of My Boyfriend's Back, which is a '90s film which I really enjoy. So it was nice to see another film like that. Uh, so I also thought it was a pretty refreshing take on the zombie film genre. It was a nice change of pace. Decent bits of gore too. I mean, you got some decapitations, you got some gunplay, you got some guts, getting ripped out and so on. And there's some nice bits of gore for the gore hounds. It's not as gory as it could be, but that's not the type of film it's trying to be, so it didn't really bother me that much. But the effects when they are there are well done. The score by Devin Burrows is there. It's nothing spectacular. The cinematography by Robert Toth it actually is really good for this type of movie. This film looks like it has a big budget, but it isn't. And that's the reason why it looks like it has a big budget, it has high production values, is probably because of the directing by the Pierce brothers, as well as the cinematography by Robert Toth and the editing by Kevin O'Brien. So I think there's a lot of things about this movie that really work really, really well, at least for me anyway. And then you have the plot, which is simple but effective. Mike and Brent are coherent zombies. They can think for themselves. They can speak. They can, crack jokes. They can smoke weed and, hang out by the campfire and joke around. And they become self-aware during a zombie attack. And the movie doesn't waste any time getting going, and I love that about it. It just starts right off. It starts off running, and I really appreciate that. And Mike's memories slowly come back to him in these sort of flashbacks, and he recalls wanting to visit his girlfriend, played by Natalie Victoria, who plays, of course, his girlfriend Ellie, who is a very beautiful actress, and I thought her performance is good too. She was cute. Her and Mike definitely made a good couple. So he wants to visit her girlfriend. Oh, he wants to visit his girlfriend. Duh! So he could tell her that he loves her, and he wants to give her the engagement ring. Brent adopts a feral zombie whom he dubs Cheese, and they set off on the road, not knowing that they're being tracked by an evil corporation. Um, and this is where you get, McDinkle and so on, and this type of guy. You get to drive around a truck trying to chase after them. Thomas Jeremiah, played by Thomas Galasso, he gets in and gets involved as well. So it becomes like a chase movie and a road trip movie. Mike and Brent get a ride from former Vietnam vets Cliff, played by Harry Burkey, and I believe it's Cliff. I believe that's the actor's name. I believe that's who it is. Um, so they are on the run trying to get away from this corporation. They get captured by the zombie hunter, and then they escape, and then they get captured again, and so on. And they make their way to Mike's girlfriend, and there's actually a happy ending. The film actually has a happy ending, which I'm surprised. The film even is self-aware at the end. It's like, oh, let's give them what they want. And I liked that. It was a nice little touch. It was a great way to end the film. So it's a film that doesn't take itself too seriously. It's definitely a comedy. It's got its tongue planted in its left cheek throughout the entire running time. And it's got some good bits of gore. It's creative. It's fun. It's fresh. It's entertaining. It's got likable characters, some good performances by Michael McKiddy and Ross Kidder, good direction by the Pierce brothers. So, yeah, I really don't know what else to say about the film because I didn't want to really give away that much because it is a film that I do want people to check out. There is also a tie-in to the film. It's like a little short film that deals with cheese. It's called, I believe it's called, I think it's called Squish, a Deadhead story, um, or Squash. Yeah, it's also directed by the Pierce brothers, who also wrote the little short. And it's nice to see cheese again. And it's something you can watch if you haven't even seen Deadheads. You can watch the short easily. It's called Smush, a Deadhead short film. I'm going to put the link in the video description down below. It's definitely something that you can check out for yourself. It doesn't have any spoilers. It doesn't give anything away. It just features a character that's in the film, Cheese. So, yeah, it's a film that I was very pleasantly surprised by. I had a lot of fun with. I would say it's one of my favorite films from this current decade. It's a fun road movie mixed with some 80s, charm and sensibility. Good performances by the cast. It's got a fair amount of laughs, some nice bits of gore, and yeah, it was a really good time. I enjoyed the movie. A lot, actually. I had a lot of fun with the film. It surprised me. So anyway, I don't know what to say about the movie, except it was rated out of 5 stars. I would give Deadheads 4 out of 5. The only reason why I wouldn't give it a full 5-star rating is because I could have used a little bit more action, and it could have been a little bit funnier. But that being said, I still really enjoyed the film. I thought it was a story that wasn't too complex. It didn't over-explain things, which I appreciated. I did not need to know the origin of the zombie outbreak. I didn't need to know any of that. I didn't need to know there was some T virus or whatever. I'm glad it kind of just starts off in the middle of the action, and then we go on this road trip with Brent and Mike, and it's the adventures of these newly undead, guys who become fast friends and fast zombies, and then it's a heartfelt journey with Mike trying to go in and find his girlfriend, and yeah, it's got some nice sight gags as well, some nice little bits of gore, and it's I think it's a very inventive, creative, fun movie that I definitely do find really underrated. It's a gem. It's a diamond in the rough. And didn't do very well, apparently. It barely got a theatrical release, and it seems like the Pierce brothers haven't done any films since then, and I really think that's too bad, because you can even tell how talented they are in the short. And, well, I guess that's how it is. That's a lot, people like Eli Roth and whatever can keep getting work, but the Pierce brothers can't seem to get another film, and they can't seem to. That's really too bad. It really sucks when you see directors that are this talented and really know what to do and really have a great vision and a great passion for filmmaking, and they do a film that is their debut, and it's actually it goes way above expectations, and they just don't get work, and it's really too bad. There's a lot of horror directors. I mean, Uwe Boll, for fuck's sake, gets jobs, but the Pierce brothers can't get any. I mean, they're much too talented not to get another chance. So I hope somebody someday down the road gives these guys a chance to direct another horror film, whether it's direct to video or in theaters. And yeah, if you like zombie movies and you like 80s road trip films or just 80s style comedies and 80s style horror, I definitely would recommend Deadheads. So, anyway, thank you for watching my review, and as always, I will see you guys later. See ya.